How'd you sleep?
Pretty good.
Okay. Well, do you know what today is?
Sunday?
What about Sunday?
Hey, babe. I got the treats.
Yay!
Got some more strawberries right here. Here you go. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Galway Productions. On this podcast, we will be talking about why we are the way we are in the relationships that we are in. I got my guest Amaya. She came back for another episode.
What's good, y'all?
First question, I guess let's get into it. Why are you single?
Ooh! Okay, the hard stuff. I just haven't found anybody or really just anyone that I can connect with or it really is on my level yet to where we can advance and grow.
I mean, like, do you know any people, like, or have you come across any people who that you thought you did have that connection with?
No, not yet.
Really?
Not romantically, at least.
Mm.
There are some people that I've come across that intellectually and like mentally are on my level, and we're equals in that sense, so we can grow on a platonic friendship type situation, but not anybody that piques my interest romantically to where I want to open my heart and be like, okay, let's try this with you.
And do you feel like that's something that's scary? Do you feel like a timer is going off in your head? Like, would you ever wonder when that person will come in your life, or is it just an easy approach? Like, we see what happens.
Honestly, I'm just chilling.
Okay.
It's not like a big deal for me if I get in a relationship or not, because for me, if I'm not at peace or like happy with myself first, I can't give anybody else happiness. So that journey of self-love really has kicked into where I'm like, you know what, I'm fine in any area that I'm at. If I'm single, if I'm not.
Are you still mingling or like?
I am not really mingling. If it happens, it happens. But I'm not like actively or outwardly gonna search for anybody.
I feel you. For me, I guess like I'm single too. It could be for the same reasons. I think really like for my part, I'm not mature enough for it yet. Like I can be loyal, I can be dedicated to somebody, but the fact that I could lose myself kind of scares me. And if I lose myself right now, I feel like I can't be at where I want to be. Okay. So I don't think anybody is a hindrance to me, but like I know I have a lot of work to do on myself because like I'm very like I don't want to say broken, but like I'm in a place where like definitely things have been taken away from me, like emotionally, and I'm just trying to find myself again. I'm trying to like make myself whole again, through God or whatever, and kind of go on that healing process so I don't hurt somebody else, because I feel like that's the number one thing that like breaks relationships. Yeah, like hurt people. So I feel like since I'm hurt, I haven't been through the most pain in the world, of course. Like everybody's hurt, but I want to make sure I'm good myself before I ever touch somebody else.
Yeah. And I think that's good that you can recognize that and you can acknowledge that in yourself. So that way you're letting people know straight up, hey, like, you're not getting the best version of me right now. And if you do want to get the best version of me, you're going to have to wait. And that's respectable. I can respect that.
Yeah.
So, proud of you.
Thank you. I mean, even though you're not in relationships, how do you still deal with that attraction towards the people you're attracted to? Like, do you talk to them? Do you hang out? What's going on with that?
If I had someone that I was romantically attracted to, I personally, if I don't think it's gonna go anywhere, I would just keep quiet and just keep minding my business and just hanging out with them. That hasn't happened in a long time, but if it does come up in college, which at some point I hope it does, if they're on the same level as me to where we can communicate correctly and like we were both in a mindset where we can handle ourselves and not lose ourselves in each other, then the time for that, we'll talk. But even then, that's not a guarantee of being together.
Okay.
We'd still be friends regardless. I'm friends with everybody that I've ever talked to. We're still on good terms, still talk weekly, daily, whatever. But, you know, I haven't found anybody in college yet to have that happen to yet.
Mm. So. And the way you are now, where you're so careful about like, and so decisive on who you talk to, why are you that way?
You know, all wisdom comes from experience and stuff like this. I wasn't always like this. I, of course, had an experience, 4 or 5 years back where I did get my heart broke hard to where I didn't even know who I was anymore without that person. And, back then I regretted it, but now I'm grateful that it happened because I was allowed to evaluate myself and like really focus on self-love and self-growth. So like after that happened, when people would just kind of walk in or walk out of life, I was okay by myself because I'd already had that hard-hitting situation where I did lose myself, and I figured out how to pick myself back up, but also how to detach from issues and really hone into just that self-love, that importance of being yourself and being good, whether you have people around you or not. Because all I really need is me. Yeah. At the end of the day, you come in by yourself, you're gonna die by yourself. Hopefully, like if you get married, get like joint caskets or whatever, that's fine. But for the most part, you're on this journey to become yourself. I'm not trying to, hang around and be someone else's reason. I need to be my own reason first. Okay. So.
And if you don't mind, like talking about it, if you do, we can definitely talk about something else. But like, how did that heartbreak affect you? Like, first of all, like, if you don't mind talking about how did you get your heart broken and how did it affect you?
I got you. Been trained for this moment. So I got my heart broken in multiple ways. The word heart is very interesting because like there's not just one definition for it. You have a heart, you give your heart to someone in forms of love, or, if you have a heart, meaning like you have courage to do things like that. The person that I was with managed to break and twist every single definition of the word heart possible. He managed to emotionally, socially, mentally, any state of being that I was in, he crushed it, like absolutely demolished it, like manipulated to where I didn't even know who I was without him anymore. Like, again, after that happened, and it's like, I feel it a little bit, but that experience is one of the hardest experiences I've ever been through in my life. And when you go through something like that with someone that you thought was going to be like your everything, it's tough because it's like, he really showed me what it was like to just really have someone like do you the worst, even when you like gave them the best. Like, he was my first for like a lot of stuff, and he was the only person in my life that I've ever trusted that much to just be there and allow him in my space like that, in the sacred space like that. He knows so much about me. Like, he knew so much about me and taught me so much. He was one of the only people that's ever been able to intrigue my thought process, my mind, like just change stuff. But he was also very destructive, self-destructive, toxic, and didn't want to change. And at some points I would be like, okay, whatever. And we would separate, but we would come back together. We would separate, we would come back together. We would separate, we would come back together. That emotionally draining, damaging, and emotionally changing process went for 5 years in my adolescence when I was growing up. It's not like I had established my identity or my individuality yet. So that was folded into who I am today. And that was hard. Like, that was really, really hard. So, he made me feel unlovable, worthless, like dependent. But after him, there was only one way that I could go, and that was up, because I was at my rock bottom, and anybody who was there in those moments for me, they know that I was. So, you just kind of gotta keep pushing, and it motivated me to thank you to this. If I don't have anybody, I gotta keep myself.
Do you still talk to him at all, or?
No. No, it's not beneficial, and everything's like said that needs to be said. But when I do see him like mentioned anywhere or anything like that, all I can do at this point as a mature person is just wish him the best and keep moving forward.
As Nehemiah, who is in college, a freshman in college, technically sophomore by credits.
You know the vibes.
Yeah. What would you say to the Nehemiah from like 5 years ago? Or even 3 years ago when you were going through the lowest points?
It gets better. I know it like sucks right now for real, but I mean, you know me, I know you. Mm-hmm. Or well, you don't know me, but I know you because I've been through you. And there are just so many things that we were taught from that experience that I'm glad that it happened with one person and not multiple people. So that way I didn't feel like everybody was against me. Because if that situation that had happened over the course of 5 years happened with multiple people, my trust would be gone for anybody. I wouldn't have let anybody in. But the fact that it just happened with one person and I went through it with one person gives me the ability to believe that's just one person. That's one bad person out of who knows how many good people. So just keep going through it, and it does get better. You do find people that do really want to be there for you and trust you and support you without needing anything back from you, as much as it doesn't seem like that right now, because I know where you're at emotionally, younger me. I promise you there are people waiting for you that are going to be there for you 100%, even when it seems like they're not.
I know my man loves me when he gives me the boot up box. He makes sure I have some chocolate covered strawberries with a pair of Oreo heart cakes and some chocolate covered pretzels to balance my salty and my sweets. Whatever the case may be, he knows it's the sweets for me. Find this on Instagram at treats_for_me.
What you just said and like the emotion you just showed, I've heard you talk about those events before, but I've never seen it touch you like it just did. And I never heard the full story and got to experience you telling it to me like that before. And I've known you for a few months now. So it's like just hearing that, it shows me another side of you that I haven't seen. And it makes me like just hearing every single word, it makes my heart kind of like, not to be cliche or corny or anything, but it hurts. And not just because it's like a person like you who's sweet. It's not just because I see you hurt or I see you in pain, but it's because like the person you were describing was me. Like, and not to make this about me.
This is a segment for both of us, G.
Yeah. I was like, I can't sit here on camera and like judge him for doing that to you because that was me. Like as a kid, like a freshman in high school, in 8th grade, growing up, like a lot of times guys, like whether it be in the locker room or on sports teams or like just being around each other, it kind of makes it seem like your masculinity is dependent on how many girls you talk to or how many girls you get or like your virginity or like, and I'm probably gonna get clowned by people who see this, but it's like those are things that masculinity is built off of in our society. And like the way you treat girls, like even in our music and in our culture, like it's kind of demeaning. Like you treat them more like objects rather than real people.
Yeah.
So when I was in a relationship, I valued her a lot and she was sweet and I loved her and she was my high school sweetheart. And that was my first serious relationship. But at the same time, it's like over the course of 4 years, or 5 years maybe, like I didn't know how to deal with her as another person because I didn't know how to deal with myself. And I saw her as an object over time and I objectified her. I used her. I lied to her. I cheated on her. And I hate talking about my younger self like this because I'm so young. Much better. Not even so much better. I don't even think that. I think I'm still like not a terrible person, but I'm still like a shitty person who's learning
Yeah.
I think the years that I have to learn from those are well beyond where I am right now. I'm not too far removed from it, but I was so young that I didn't understand how insecurity worked, or I didn't understand how certain traits could be passed down from my parents to me, from my dad to me. And unfortunately, most of the things I learned that, oh, my dad dealt with this, that's why I'm dealing with this, I learned after he was gone. Yeah. And so not having a dad, you know, I have brothers and everything, but not having a dad over me to say, yo, don't do this, or this is why you deal with this, or this is how you should deal with a young woman, a young lady. Yeah. It was hard.
My condolences about your dad, by the way.
I mean, it's cool. It's definitely cool. He's in a much better place. I'm glad, you know, he's able to be fully healed because he was sick. But at the same time, it still does suck because I don't have a man over me, or I didn't have
father figure.
Yeah, to just tell me like, this is why you're dealing with this. Because a lot of the things I dealt with, like insecurities, trust issues, emotional problems, like cheating, those are things that I feel like a lot of young men go through in our society, but not a lot of older men tell them or direct them is to say, this is what you shouldn't do. So where I'm getting my wisdom from and my relationship advice from is other guys around me. And they may not be speaking directly to me, but if they're cheating, I mean, if I cheat one time, it's cool. Or if their girl is stripping, in their words, just laugh about it. That's what I'm going to do. Or if your girl has a male friend and they kicking it by themselves, like, or
then something's happening.
Yeah. And I didn't know how to deal with that. And I became a control freak and I damaged her. And the hurt that I saw from you reminds me of the hurt that I've heard and seen from her so many times because I ruined a large portion of her life. And it sucks. I wish I could go to my younger self and say, I don't want to say I wish I never talked to her because she taught me so many things and our relationship was so beautiful. But at the same time, I wish like I could have talked to myself and said, you got to realize who you have and the impact that you could have on somebody else's whole entire being and soul. Because I think she's damaged and I'm damaged for sure. And I think we're really just beginning to try to fix it and let go. Yeah, so your hurt hurts me. I'm sorry.
It's fine, bro. I completely understand, which is why, like, after that experience that I had, like, I'm glad that it only took one, but after that experience and what I went through, I made sure that I would never make anybody else feel what I felt, because from that experience came a lot of bad things. Like, over the course of those years, I was a bad person, or at least to me, I was a terrible person because, again, like, I didn't know how to function without someone else, and that someone else happened to be a terrible person. So in result, I was a terrible person, and I treated so many people that if I could go back now and apologize to them, which actually some of them I actually have apologized to, I wish I could just be like, I'm so sorry, because I could have been so much better, which is why, like, he taught me so many things, but out of the bad things that he taught me, there were good things. Like, be careful who you're around. Don't openly trust people so easily, because before him, like, I was just openly trusting about anybody and everybody, willing to just do anything for everybody, and didn't realize my worth. And I'm kind of upset at myself that it took that for me to realize my worth, but I'm glad that he showed me that, but he also showed me that at a young age. So I've matured a lot faster than a lot of people. But with that, I have to recognize that people that I meet now, they may not be at the same level that I was or that I am right now, because they haven't had something like that happen to them. And that doesn't mean that you can't still be there for them. You just also have to recognize, like, they are where I was 5 years ago. And I am past that 5 years ago. The levels are different. But that doesn't mean that you can't learn anything from each level. So going back to how you say you're not as mature in that sense for a relationship, the fact that you understand that and you acknowledge that is a wonderful thing. And for, you know, if you do mingle with some people, or you mingle with a girl coming through, or this, that, and the third, and let's say she's like me, or maybe even higher, somewhere in that headspace, I don't think there's anything wrong with, like, being with her, but you do have to understand someone like that is going to give you difficulty just because she wants to see you at your best you. And it can be hard because it's like, I'm trying. She doesn't need you to change overnight. She just wants to be there to help you in your progression and to be better. And people like that, those people don't come a lot. And I know that because I am one of those people, but also because I got to meet 8 or 9 or 10 other people that are just like me. And they show like I knew my self-worth already, but when you're surrounded by people, again, who only want to see you do better, I can see that, how that can be faltering because you're around people and it's like, whoa, am I really that good compared to all these other people? And that's not even just in a romantic relationship standpoint with a one-on-one, but just in life. Sometimes you just, it's going to be hard, but keep those people around you regardless if you can, because at least you know those people are going to be there for you regardless. Even if you fall out with them, you still have the respect, the support, the trust from those people. Even if something did happen, it's not like relationships can just change due to one thing, you know? So be with people who understand who you are right now. They see you for who you are right now, but they also understand who you could be without just falling in love or falling in like with your potential. They see your potential, but they also see you as a being. And they're understanding that. But they also, you know, they want to be in love with the come up. They want to have a good connection with you.
Do you feel like with somebody, let's say for where I'm at, and if you could speak to like a lot of like younger guys who are watching this video.
Younger guys, what's up?
We find ourselves like in a place like where we don't want a relationship. So we want to be like, you know, single. And we could either really be by ourselves or we could like, you know, just be chill with other people that we meet along the lines. How do we like kind of communicate that? Like, how do you think
that?
Yeah.
Okay. Let them know from the jump. Sometimes it can be hard to be vulnerable, but you don't even have to be vulnerable in that spot. It's just, look. You see me? Okay. So just be like open and honest and upfront. Just, I know right now, for where I'm at right now, I'm not in a place to be somewhere serious. I need to work on myself. And I just want to let you know that upfront. Now, whatever you want to do based on the knowledge that you know, I can accept whatever. But please do know, with all due respect, I may not be able to give you everything that you need right now. It's really just as simple as that. Laying out, I know I'm not the best right now, but if you're willing to stick beside me in any way that you want to, not even romantic, it's fine.
Okay. So like being upfront, honest, open, truthful.
Yeah.
What if we find ourselves in a situation where like I know a lot of people who are saying, and I'm not saying this is a girl thing because I feel like girls communicate with guys and guys get it messed up too. So it's not a gender based thing, but I feel like sometimes the guys, like we can like tell a girl, or for me, I could tell a girl, hey, I don't want anything serious. I'm not looking for commitment. I'm not going to hold you to that either because I know you're not in that place. And we mess with a couple of girls or a few girls. And like, when we do that, they get mad, like, or they kind of like come back at us, or they kind of like they flip back and say, whoa, I do want commitment, or I do like, you know, I want you to myself, like, even though you already like laid out the terms. So what should we do in those situations? Like, how do we even avoid those?
Just avoid those type of girls, or just avoid those situations? I
mean, those situations, because the girls at first, they agree. They're like, okay, that's cool. But then they kind of flip back.
Okay. To be honest, you got to recognize there's only so much that you can control. How someone reacts to something you say or someone else's response, that is purely on them. That has nothing to do with you. So you just have to be able to understand the situation. Say, look, I've said that all I needed to say. I'm being honest with you and saying my truth. But beyond that, beyond what you can control, don't worry about it. Detach from it. And yeah, I know like you might have some emotions about it. Handle your emotions and be real with yourself and be real with that person and take your time that you need to move on. But still detach from it and understand, with what is going on right now and what you feel, I cannot control. I'm sorry if I made you feel any type of way, but please do understand this is just where I'm coming from.
Mm.
I'd rather you be real and hurt someone's feelings than be fake to them and let them believe what they want to believe.
We could leave off on a great note. What is one word that you could bring to the table as a solution for broken relationships?
Time.
What do you mean by time?
For the people that are broken, give yourself the honest time and isolation and honesty to yourself that you need to fix yourself. For people who want to help broken people, time. Understand that they will not change overnight. Take a break if you need to. Take some time, but have those honest conversations and understand this is going to take a minute. It's not going to be a one and done situation. Understand and comprehension on both sides and just time.
Definitely. All right. Well, that's all for this episode on Galway Productions. If you like it, share it, subscribe, even comment. Turn on the notification bells for any updates or any videos that we might be posting at any time. And just keep watching for more content on the way. Thank you.